Jeremiah is not calling them to naturalize. Jeremiah never once even hints that they would love Babylon in the same way that they loved Jerusalem. He does not compel their hearts to move 1 inch from the hope that is set out before them of returning to God's city. In fact, his letter ends with these words: when the 70 years are complete, I'll visit you. I'll fulfill my promise to you. I will bring you back to your city. Psalm 137 is what Dan read to begin the service. It's a psalm of lament and pining for the city, written during the time of the exile in Babylon. The title in your Bible is the Psalm of David. It should have been titled, I Left My Heart in Jerusalem. Listen to the words. By the waters of Babylon, there we sat down and wept when we remembered Zion. On the willow trees we hung up our harps. Our captors wanted us to sing songs, saying to us, sing the songs of Zion. How can we sing the song of the Lord's city in a foreign land? And then they say this, and it mitigates against naturalizing. If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget its skill. Let my tongue stick to the roof of my mouth if I don't remember God's city. If I don't set Jerusalem above my highest joy. Oh, do you feel that? Yes, I will seek the shalom of the city where I live in exile, but my heart is not moved from the city of God. Break my hand before I sing songs of Babylon. Rip my tongue out before I praise that city above the city of God. Yes, seek the shalom of the cities of this earth, but don't ever make it your home. It's because ultimately shalom will never come to Babylon. Read the end of Jeremiah. No matter how many exiles lived there, no matter how well they lived, that place was going to become rubble because of its sin. It would have been foolish for these exiles to lose their love for the city of God and buy into the city of man. John Calvin, also smart, also says it like this. It wasn't God's purpose that they should set their hearts on Babylon. They were ever to think of their return. And then he writes this, it's so helpful to us. At first, these two views seem so inconsistent that the Jews were to live as though they were natives of the place, and yet they were ever to look forward to a return. But these two can well agree together. That's it. Jeremiah's call for them was to live as the happiest, holiest, best citizens that the earthly city had ever seen, while maintaining the distinctiveness of and the affection for and the allegiance to their home city. If they could find a way to do that well, the mission of God would continue to be accomplished through that community. That is how the people of the exile were called to relate to the city in their day. And here's the hook. That is how we are called to relate to the cities that we live in our day. Here's why we say this. When James writes to Christians, how does he start his letter? He says, I am writing to the 12 tribes in the dispersion. That means God's people exiled. When Peter writes to the Christians, how does he start his letter? To those who are elect exiles of the dispersion in the cities and the regions of Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, and Bithynia. Do you hear that? The New Testament frames the Christian life and Christian communities as exiles, living far from the city that we will one day be citizens of, in earthly and worldly cities, we too are exiles. Someone who is not a native, but someone who's also not just passing through. Someone who's not permanently rooted, but someone who is not a tourist. Someone who lives in the city for the good of the city, according to the norms of its home city, on its way there. That is us in Melrose, Malden, Beverly, Boston.